This is Rita Dairit and this is Buhay Parang Life, where we discuss issues about this thing called life. Thank you, my dear viewers, for tuning into this episode. I invite you to please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook page. Buhay Parang Life is part of Faith Watch TV, and I ask you to download the Faith Watch app on your mobile device. We read and value your comments, so please feel free to write down your comments and suggestions below. This is part 2 of our episode with Anthony James Perez. AJ, napakaganda nung kanina. AJ, welcome back. Yung four core values of spiritual masculinity, which are
responsibility, sacrifice, temperance, and truth.
Truth. Thank you. And thank you, AJ, for sharing with us, no, yung journey mo to being responsible to yourself. Yes. Now, we ended with Wokeism na lately nababasa ko pero hindi ko masyadong naiintindihan, and cultural Marxism. Go ahead, AJ. Bakit ito threat sa truth?
Yes, kasi under wokeism, maraming maraming klaseng oppression na pinag-uusapan, and therefore maraming sanga-sanga, no? Pero they fall under the same tree, which is yung wokeism. So meron tayong tinatawag na gender gender theory. Yan. Ang tawag natin dyan sa...
na usapin ngayon.
Yes.
Pride. No? Siyempre gaganyan ko dahil tinuruan tayo sa pag-aaral natin noon, AJ, kahit hindi tayo magka-generation. We were taught the virtues of humility. Sabi ko, ngayon pride ang tinuturo yata. Parang mali yata.
And sa ngayon actually, of course pinaglalaban pa rin yung LGB and other letters ng LGBTQ. Pero pag sinabi mong gender theory, ang malakas talaga diyan sa usapin na yan ay yung usapin ng ng transgenderism, which is a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man and vice versa. No? Meron ngang tinatawag na non-binary, hindi siya lalaki, feeling niya hindi siya lalaki, hindi siya babae. No? We have to talk about these things, no? Kasi sa gender theory, they're saying that gender is fluid, no? That yung pinanganak mong sex is just the sex, pero yung paglaki mo, you can be of male or female gender. Iba kasi yung sex sa gender sa mentality ngayon. Nasa pagpapalaki lang daw yun, no?
AJ, pinasok ko yung gender theory or in the context of the truth of the core, one of the core values of spiritual masculinity, which is the truth. Doon mo pinasok because are you saying that the gender theory that we have right now is opposed to the truth?
Well, hindi lang gender theory. The whole tree of wokeism itself has a lot of evil and deceitful fruits, kumbaga. Na isa lang ang gender theory. But let's focus on gender theory.
Okay, sige.
Let's focus on gender theory. It's opposed to the truth kasi right now even our younger people are being taught that men can be women, women can be men can have periods, men can get pregnant, no? It's sa Catholic Church, Pope Francis calls it gender ideology, no? Talaga, it's an affront to the truth because no matter who you're attracted to, no matter kung ano yung ugali mo, let's say medyo tomboy ka, medyo boyish ka, medyo malambot ka, medyo feminine side ka, there's really only two sexes, male and female. Science proves it, may XX and XY chromosome. The Bible proves it, male and female, He created them. Sa ngayon, ang daming confusion na tinatanim sa isipan ng ating mga estudyante dahil ito yung uso, ito yung woke, no? Feeling kasi nila that the transgender are oppressed, the LGBT are oppressed, and we're not denying that some of them are. Pero as it stands, hindi naman totoo talaga yung mga tinuturo sa kanila kasi they're all under woke ideology and cultural Marxism.
Expound more on that cultural Marxism. Like ako hindi
Yung ano
ko
kasi, when you say cultural Marxism, ang daming nag-iisip na woke na tayo ay oppressed, especially if you are a woman, if you are LGBT, if you are a minority. Ang kalaban mo, ang oppressor mo is the white people, especially white white men, no? Yun ang para hindi na we are having a difficult time wrapping our heads around it, our minds around it kasi hindi tayo pinalaki ng ganun eh. Pero ang mga tao ngayon, especially the younger generation, thinks in terms of oppressor versus oppressed. And this is where woke ideology is so appealing to them. Kasi meron silang sense of purpose na nakikita sa wokeism. Especially
because
kapag
they feel oppressed though they have a purpose. Ganun ba yun?
no. Kapag ikaw ay, let's say, hindi pinalaking religious, kapag pinalaki kang medyo may parental trauma, medyo bullied ka sa school dahil ikaw ay, let's say, you're on the plus size end of the spectrum, kapag ikaw ay LGBT, these are truths sa personal life mo that affirm that notion na sandali, oppressed ako eh. Pero ang problema doon, tinatanggalan ka ng agency sa buhay mo that you're able to overcome these oppressions. Wokeism feeds on that idea na ikaw ay oppressed at dahil yun may oppressor.
At
Andyan na
dahil
yung
may
mga...
oppressor, may kalaban ka. Ganun ba yun?
Yes.
Kaya tayo naglalabanan ngayon?
Dahil may oppressor, you have to pursue social justice and woke ideologies in order to feed on your yung uhaw ka sa sa purpose sa buhay mo eh. If I pursue this woke ideologies kasi sila mga nagra-rallies, mga sumasali sa mga Pride Month parades.
Right.
They think they're fighting for social justice and that gives them a sense of purpose and meaning in their lives.
You say they think they are fighting for social justice. In your mind, what are they really fighting for? Kasi sa mind nila, they're fighting for social justice. But what actually are they fighting for?
They're fighting for what what they feel is right. But what they feel is right is not necessarily what is right. Kaya nga uso ngayon sa conservatives, ang sinasabi nila is facts don't care about your feelings. Kasi ang totoo ay totoo regardless of how you feel whether this is true or not. Because the data will show na sandali, tama ba itong paniniwala mo o mali? For example, in America, yung nagkaroon nung early 2020s, nagkakaroon ng mga BLM riots, ng mga racially motivated na mga riots. And ang iniisip nila is itong mga black people are still oppressed by the white man. But the data and statistics show na yung mga pumapatay sa mga black people are majority ng pumapatay sa kanila at nag-i-injure sa kanila are black people themselves. So it's more on black and black violence. Pero pinush nila yung narrative na it's the white people that are doing this. It's the police that are doing this. So kaya nga lumabas yung issue na which we have to defund the police. Ganyan. We have to fight for racial justice kasi ang mga white people ang oppressors. Kahit na wala namang ginagawa sa kanilang white people.
Okay. Alright.
So, yun ang nakikita kong appealing for young people nowadays. na unang-una hindi catechized ng mabuti ng magulang, na hindi na-educate ng tamang history, na ang teachers nila ay mga woke na rin, that keep on feeding them woke ideas na pinapasukan sa pinapasok sa curriculum. Let's say, for example, sinasabi nila, some people in America say math is racist. Could you believe that?
What's that? Math
Math, mathematics,
is racist?
racist.
Bakit?
Bakit?
Right.
Kasi kasi sinasabi nila na math is masyadong eksaktong math is a precise philosophy and science, 'di ba? Kapag
Yes.
ikaw ay
They don't lie, di ba? They don't lie. Kung ano yun,
yes,
yun.
two,
Five, five. Right.
yeah, 2 plus 2 is 4.
You
Pero
cannot
ang
otherwise.
under the woke mind, is it really? Ganyan. Are we really able to say na 2 plus 2 is 4, especially kung ikaw ay galing sa may hirap na community? So baka mamaya, let's talk about how you're oppressed and how you are poor and how you should get out of your yoke of poverty instead of studying 2 plus 2 is 4.
Okay.
Right?
Parang
It's
medyo naguguluhan na ako. Right, right. So,
yeah.
where is this all going?
Sorry.
Saan, saan napapunta ang ating society kapag with this wokeism?
And gusto kong i-connect yan doon sa truth. Kasi the value of truth means that you are honest with yourself and that you are pursuing what is true. Kasi alam natin na kapag if the more you believe lies, the more that people are affected, and the more yung version mo ng reality is twisted, no? So saan papunta ang society natin? Right now we're believing that abortion is healthcare. We're believing that men can be women, that men can get periods. We're believing that the white man is the enemy. So ang daming mga false na paniniwala na that doesn't translate to progress, first and foremost. Second, it makes us dumber. To be blunt about it, it really makes us dumber. And this is the reason why I'm writing this book. Uh, it, it's it's supposed to have an international readership, pero I'm really writing this para mabasa ng mga Filipino youths and millennials and siguro mga older generations na rin, kasi this is where we're headed. Nakita ko yung nangyayari sa Amerika. I really don't want it to happen in our country.
Do you think it is quite here already?
Yes,
You are a future parent. I hope you will have children your own. I
thank
am
you.
a mother of 5 adults, but I have very young grandchildren. What are we to do to fight this wokeism? And the educational system, which is, we know because we see in their social media pages that they are promoting ideas that is contrary to the teachings of the Catholic Church. What are we to do?
Unang-una sa lahat, dapat ma-recognize natin kung ano yung wokeism, no? And that is my purpose for the book. Yun yung dahilan din kung bakit ako lagi nagpo-post sa Facebook. If more and more people are aware of what wokeism is and what cultural Marxism is, the more that people can educate themselves and arm themselves in order to fight this. Now, you can't fight an enemy you cannot see or do not know exists. Second
Exactly.
is, yeah, the second part is we have to educate our children na ito yung totoo, ito yung dapat yung matutunan. Ito yung tinuturo ng simbahan, tinuturo ng Bible. Uh, you you cannot give what you don't have. And before you're able to do that, you have to educate yourself as well. No? Maybe this is an opportunity for Catholics, Filipino Catholics here in the Philippines, na magkaroon ng revival to study our catechism, to study what wokeism is, kung ano yung mga roots nito. And finally, sa tingin ko, we have to put pressure on the schools, on companies, on uh, the churches, no? Kasi ano eh, hindi naman ang wokeism hindi lalaganap dito yan without the older generation being complicit. Yung mga
Okay.
HR, for example, HR, yung mga team ng schools, ng colleges, mga principals, uh, they're the new high priests of this religion called wokeism. Kasi sila yung nagpapalaganap nito. They at least allow uh, these policies, these woke policies to be implemented sa office, sa colleges
Yes.
nila.
Yes, they allow.
And they
In the
think
name
na
of
nakakabuti.
justice. In the
In the
name of
name of social
justice.
justice, yes.
Oo.
Kasi hindi nila naaaral to, hindi nila nasasala, hindi nila na-filter out na, and they don't really understand what's going on, no? Kasi ang kagandahan, ang ganda kasi pakinggan ng mga woke terms like inclusion,
Authentic.
equality, equity, no? Ang gaganda eh, pero
Diversity.
yeah, yes, diversity. So ang ganda ng pakinggan nitong mga terms nito, pero they all have really negative impacts pagdating sa companies, even sa schools, no? Especially sa schools. So kailangan talaga we have to arm ourselves in order to put pressure on these companies and schools para itigil
I can
itong mga
understand.
woke
I can
policies.
understand, AJ. May negative impact ito sa school because yung estudyante naturuan ng mali. But what would be the negative impact of wokeism in companies?
Yung for example, diversity. Diba?
Uh-huh.
Diversity diversity in equity and inclusion. For example, dapat mag-hire tayo ng hindi mag-hire tayo hindi lang ng mga straight people, kung hindi mga LGBT. So ang gagawin ng mga companies in order to appear na sila ay may promote ng diversity, kung ako ay mag-a-apply at isa lang ang posisyon, merong isang LGBT na mag-a-apply, malamang baka mas kunin nila to. Kahit na
But
mas ako, mas competent ako, mas bagay sa akin yung role. Kasi ang nangyayari is para mag-virtue signal sila ng ng diversity, baka i-hire itong person na to just because he's LGBT, not because of competence. That's one example. So,
so
may
yeah.
may effect kasi talaga yan, no? Yung paniniwala nila that everything should be very very equal, no? Very Marxist yun no? I am all for fairness and justice. Pero to say that everything should be equal and therefore dapat merong certain number of heterosexual, certain number of LGBT, certain number of disabled people, hindi yun hindi papatok yun it won't work.
It won't
Last
work.
example na lang. Yung ang Oscars, yung Academy Awards sa
Right.
US.
Okay. Oscars,
Hindi ka
right.
mananalo ng kahit anong award kung hindi ka pumasok dun sa kanilang diversity quota. Ibig sabihin, dapat may hinire kang person of color, disabled, etc. Mga oppressed people, LGBT. Paano kung mas magaling yung hindi disabled or hindi di ba?
Pilitan. Is that, di ba they do that sometimes in the name of political correctness?
Yes, yes. Pero this is not something that is sustainable.
Hindi
Di ba?
sustainable.
Hindi
Kasi
siya
nga,
sustainable because you are rewarding incompetence in the
just
name of
because it becomes
diversity.
diverse.
Just
Yeah,
because
in the
meron
name
kang
of
kailangan
diverse.
ipasok na LGBT, meron kang kailangan ipasok na person of color, etc.
Kailangan. Correct.
Di ba? So, mahirap talaga yan. Ang dami-dami
AJ,
pang aspeto ng wokeism.
you work
Yeah.
and live in the US. Can you share some encounters with wokeism in the workplace and even, in the
May
neighborhood where you, and how
may
you
lala,
handle it?
may co-worker ako na ano, hindi ko alam na babae pala siya. Kasi mukha siyang lalaki, trans na siya. May
Okay. All
balbas,
right.
boses niya hindi naman matinis, hindi naman malalim. Pero akala ko talaga lalaki siya. So, nung naging close kami, doon niya lang ni-reveal, doon lang siya nag-out sa akin na, ay, ano ba yun? Trans ako. Mabait siya ako sa mabait. Kaya lang, ah, ang problema sa kanila, and ang napansin ko rin sa mga young people na woke, they hindi na palalampasin yung mga opportunities for them to educate you na, ay, dapat hindi ganito yan. Dapat you should have said this over this kasi offensive yan sa mga woke, sa mga
Mga
LGBT, mga
ganon.
ganon.
All right.
Um, Dumaan ako sa LGBT training dahil
What training?
kailangan gender sensitivity training, yun ang tawag.
Meron
Um,
kayong ganun sa opisina?
yes, sa store. Kasi baka ano na naman may ma-misgender ka, yun ang term. Yung tipong akala mo babae pala lalaki and vice versa. So ano dapat ang gawin kapag meron kang ganung customer? Ang ang
Okay.
ang, ang sa akin lang,
How were
ang
you
sa akin,
feeling during the training?
ang sa akin lang, um, yes, it has its purposes. Pero by the speaker's own admission, napaka-konti lang naman ng mga trans people. Number two, we were having issues with the store na hindi naman major issues. Pero ang dami dapat aspeto na tungkol sa operation ng store na pwedeng i-training. Pero
Bakit yun?
inuna yung gender sensitivity training para mag-appear na, just people tend to cave into the woke. And and that is what pisses me off about it, to be honest. Para lang yun na nga, in the name of political correctness, in the name of na masabing, ay, ano kami, gender inclusive kami. Nagkaroon ng ganong training. Samantalang dami-dami problema sa store. And we've never had the problem of misgendering someone.
What else can the readers, your future readers, will find in that book?
There is the last two chapters, natutuwa ako dun sa last two chapters. I'm currently writing them down. The second to the last chapter is things I wish I knew before I was 30.
Before you were 30?
30 years old.
Okay.
Kumbaga, this is me trying to be a dad to the young man who is reading the book. Na, bro, believe me, ito yung gawin mo. No? In that chapter includes the theology of falling in love, how to find purpose in your work, paano ka manligaw, ng tama, how to confess your feelings, how to be able to accept rejection, things na hindi tinuturo sa mga kabataan ngayon na hindi naman at hindi napapag-usapan, yun yung second to the last chapter. Kumbaga, it's my love letter to young men. The last chapter, ang nakakatuwa din is ang tinatawag kong Woketionary. Parang dictionary, pero
Dictionary? Sige nga.
it's a glossary of woke terms para rin makarelate yung mga tao. Ina-explain ko what the woke terms are from A to Z. Currently, meron na akong close to 50 words na woke terms and buzzwords.
Top
In-explain
3
ko what they
examples.
ally.
Ally,
A-L-L-Y, ally. For
ally,
example,
yeah.
ally. Kapag ikaw ay LGBT ally, ikaw ay sumasang-ayon sa kanilang lifestyle, nagpo-promote ka ng mga LGBT events at yung mga yung kanilang mga ideologies. So, yun ang ally. Para sa akin, I want to be their ally because I'm their friend. Pero, it doesn't mean that I'm going to support their ideology. Kasi no, I don't support their lifestyle because as much as I love you, and the reason why I'm telling you I don't agree with you is because I love you. Marami akong LGBT na kaibigan. So, I am your ally, not in your sense of the word, but in my sense of the word na I want na ano, I want you to be happy and fulfilled in your life, and I want you to be in heaven in the next. So,
The care
yun
of their
yung, yes. Ano pa ba? Mansplaining.
mansplain?
Explain, di ba? Explain,
Okay, mansplain.
mansplain.
Ano yan?
It means na you are a man and explaining things as a man. Therefore, invalid yung argument mo. Let's say, for example, if you are against abortion and you are a man speaking out against abortion, you're mansplaining. You have no right to speak about abortion because lalaki ka. And isa pa yan, yung sinasabi lang, no uterus, no opinion. Parang, so,
Okay,
truth is a matter of, yes. So,
all
truth is a
right.
matter of gender or sex ngayon. Hindi ba ako pwede magsabi ng totoo or what I think is
It's because
true?
we are not.
Just because, of my gender, of my sex, sorry. So, yun, that's another term. Ano pa ba? So, right now, at the top of my head, yun ang aking dalawang
Parang
naalala.
napakarami pala naming dapat matutunan because we need to be alert. Kailangan matutunan
Yes.
because you have to know what is out there so you can address them.
Yes, kasi yun na nga, hindi ka pwedeng the times are changing, no?
Hindi ka pwedeng walang alam, no? Hindi yung mahuhuli. Kawawa yung next generation na hindi mo matuturuan just because you don't know.
Yes. Yes. If I may, meron pa akong isang word na woke word. Equity.
Ano?
They're so fond of this word, yung the term equity.
At anong equity for them in the Wokeism vocabulary?
In principle, kung equality means you get 50 and I get 50, and para tayo may 100 kasi tig 50. I mean, para tayo may 50. Dahil mayaman ka na at mas mahirap ako, dapat I should get 60 and you should get 40. That's equity.
Yun sa kanila, yun ang equity.
Sa kanila ganito. There should be more black people, for example, in universities. Kasi mas discriminated sila. So, alam mo yun, more black people than white people. Kasi historically discriminated ang black. So, dapat bumawi naman tayo ngayon. Which doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense kasi if you're in the university, it's because pumasa ka sa standards nila. Diba?
Yeah,
let's say for example,
nakapasa tayo sa mga university because of the entrance exam, not because of ethnicity or gender.
Exactly. That shouldn't matter anyway, right? Basta pumasa ka.
Correct.
Pero ngayon, merong quota yung mga universities and colleges sa Amerika that, allow people of color, blacks, Asians, minorities. Even if hindi sila pumasa doon sa standard nung white people.
But because of their color.
Because they're people of color and therefore may oppressed daw sila, nakapasok sila.
All right.
Diba? Ang gulo no?
When can we buy this book? When will it be out? Who is publishing it?
Oh yeah, I'm just self-publishing it, and that's why I really need all the help I can get in order to get the word out. It will be printed and sold hopefully by the first week of September. But sana bago yung bago ma-release I hope you can invite me again so we can talk about the book and we can talk about this whole idea of wokeism and how to counter it. Kasi napakaraming pag-uusapan. Dami-daming pag-uusapan.
Okay, my pleasure, AJ. Now, so, all right. Why should we read your book?
Men should read it because they are called to be the men that God wants them to be. What does God want them to be? Naniniwala ako sa kasabihan ni Saint Catherine of Siena. You set the world on fire. Be who God meant you to be and you set the world on fire. And if we are just true to our authentic spiritual masculinity, we will set the world on fire. We will be able to be responsible for our lives, to make the necessary sacrifices and be temperate with our appetites, and fight untruths and lies and deceits, especially of the woke ideology. So that is the reason why men should read it. Women should read it because I want them to have an idea of what kind of man should they have as a husband, as a future husband. Yun lang yun.
Yun. And even parents, no? Why
And even parents, yes.
like a parent and a grandmother, why should I read it?
Because I want the older generation, not that you're old, pero
I am
iba yung
old.
generation natin. No?
Yes.
I want the older generation to know what's happening and to know that there is a tsunami coming that will really change the Philippine landscape culturally and in terms of our faith as Christians and Catholics. We should be prepared for this tsunami. Or better yet, we should actually prevent this tsunami from coming.
Prevent, correct. Oo, tama.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, AJ. Any other final words for our viewers?
Yes, please wait for it. No, the book is entitled "The Man You're Meant to Be." It's really about my experiences as a man and what you can learn from it, and how you can resist the toxic woke culture, and also the calling of a hedonistic lifestyle. So watch out for it. I hope you buy it and read it.
I surely will. AJ, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the words
Thank
of
you.
wisdom.
Thank you.
Thank you, my dear viewers. Remember, watch out for the book, The Man You Were Meant to Be, and it is for all of us, men, women, young, and old. Thank you so much. This is Rita Dayrit reminding you today, haba-habaan po ang pasensya sapagkat ang buhay parang